Most unlikely dynasty of the modern era, the Giants defied analytics and expectations. They won 3 World Series championships in 5 years, but somehow managed to never win their division in consecutive years during this span. They had a 33-14 postseason record during these championship runs, and they were the first NL team to win 3 titles in 5 years since the Cardinals did in 1942 through 1946. Key players for this dynasty include Buster Posey, the 2010 Rookie of the Year, 2012 NL MVP and batting champion, and 7-time All-Star. There's also pitcher Madison Bumgarner. He was the 2014 NLCS MVP, and he had a historic 2014 World Series performance, putting up an insane .43 ERA in 21 innings pitched and earning himself the 2014 World Series MVP award. They also had star pitcher Tim Lincecum, a 2-time Cy Young winner who had a 2.40 ERA in 56 innings pitched in all 3 World Series appearances with the Giants. Pablo Sandoval was another key player for the dynasty. He hit 3 home runs in the 2012 World Series Game 1, earning the 2012 World Series MVP award. Their dynasty was defined by Mad Bum's 5-inning save in Game 7 of the 2014 World Series on 2 days rest, culminating a postseason where he posted a 1.03 ERA in 52.2 innings, one of the greatest pitching performances in playoff history. Combine that with Sandoval's incredible 3-home run World Series game in 2012, and you have 2 moments that undeniably show the strength of this somewhat brief dynasty. After a rare championship drought, the Yankees returned to dominance from 1996 to 2003. They won 4 World Series championships in a 5-year span, including 3 in a row, along with 6 American League pennants in 8 years. The historic 1998 team went 114-48 and 11-2 in postseason. During this stretch, they never won fewer than 92 games and made 13 straight playoff appearances beginning in 1995. The Yankees had some of the best players in MLB during this time, earning themselves the title of the Core Four. Derek Jeter became a household name during this time, winning Rookie of the Year in 1996, and he was a core part of the team for all 4 World Series championships during this period, including earning himself the World Series MVP in 2000. During this 8-season period, he batted .318 and earned a 40.8 WAR. Another member of the Core Four was Mariano Rivera, considered to be one of the greatest closers of all time, and he currently holds the MLB record for career saves at 652. He had 283 regular season saves during the dynasty, along with a 2.15 ERA. Jorge Posada was their 5-time All-Star catcher and solid offensive player. During this period, he managed 526 RBIs and 135 home runs with an OPS plus of 121. And the last member of the Core Four is pitcher Andy Pettitte, who had 137 wins during this period, plus 19 postseason wins, the current MLB record. Their historic 1998 season solidified their dynasty when they went 125-50 between the regular and postseason, sweeping the Padres in the World Series. This team is widely regarded as one of the most complete teams in baseball history. This dynasty blended homegrown talents like Jeter, Rivera, Pettitte, and Posada with strategic free agent signings. It established the Yankees as MLB's financial superpower in the free agency era while still emphasizing player development. From 1971 to 1975, the Swingin' A's dominated the American League. During this 5-year stretch, they won 3 consecutive World Series championships, 5 straight AL West titles from 1971 to 1975. They had a .476 and .326 record, and they won 90-plus games every year during this stretch. The A's had some star players during this time, including 3 future Hall of Famers. One of them is Reggie Jackson, who was a 14-time All-Star, AL MVP in 1973, along with World Series MVP that same year. He averaged 31 home runs and 94 RBIs from 1971 to 1975, batting .275 with a 151 OPS+. They also had star pitcher Catfish Hunter, a Cy Young winner in 1974 and winning 21 or more games in every season during this period. He also had a 2.68 ERA and an insane 88-35 record from 1971 to 1974, his last season with the team. And Rollie Fingers was their star reliever. He pioneered the modern closer role, and during this period, he had a 2.61 ERA and 102 saves in just 5 seasons. He was also the 1974 World Series MVP. And while Gene Tenace isn't a Hall of Famer, he was critical for this dynasty, winning the World Series MVP title in 1972, hitting 2 home runs in his first 2 World Series at-bats. Their dynasty was defined in Game 7 of the 1973 World Series when they defeated the heavily favored Mets 5-2, with Reggie Jackson hitting a massive 2-run homer to help secure their second straight championship. One of the best lineups in baseball history, the Big Red Machine dominated the National League from 1970 to 1979. They won back-to-back World Series championships in 1975 and 1976, the second of which was a clean sweep against the powerhouse Yankees. They also won 4 National League pennants in 7 years, and between 1970 and 1979, they averaged over 95 wins a season. They also had the Great Eight. These players collectively won 25 Gold Glove awards, made 63 All-Star Game appearances, and played 88 games together between 1975 and 1976, losing only 19 of them. Some key players for the Big Red Machine were Johnny Bench, who was a Hall of Fame catcher with 2 MVPs, 10 Gold Glove awards, and the World Series MVP in 1976. The infamous Pete Rose, MLB's all-time hits leader with 4,256 hits, a 17-time All-Star and World Series MVP in 1975. They also had Hall of Fame second baseman Joe Morgan, who had back-to-back MVPs in 1975 and 76 and was a 5-time Gold Glove winner. There's also Tony Perez, a 7-time All-Star and future Hall of Famer who drove in 100-plus runs 4 times in this span while batting .284. George Foster hit 52 home runs in 1977, who was the first player since Willie Mays in 1965 to hit 50-plus. And Ken Griffey Sr., who batted over 300 in 5 different seasons while part of the Big Red Machine. Their dynasty-defining moment came in the 1976 postseason when they went 7-0, sweeping both the Phillies and Yankees while outscoring opponents a combined 41-19. This demonstrated their complete dominance over what was otherwise a competitive era. From 1942 to 1946, the Cardinals established themselves as the National League's premier team. They won 3 World Series championships in 5 years, along with 4 National League pennants. They had 105 wins or more in 3 straight seasons from 1942 to 1944, and they defeated the Yankees juggernaut team in the 1942 World Series. Some of this dynasty's key players are Hall of Famer Stan Musial, a 7-time batting champion, 24-time All-Star, and 3-time MVP. He had a career batting average of .331 with 3,630 hits and an incredible 128.6 WAR by the end of his 22-season career. They also had Enos Slaughter, another future Hall of Famer and career 10-time All-Star, known for his mad dash in the 1946 World Series. Marty Marion was a defensive powerhouse at shortstop and the 1944 MVP, and pitcher Mort Cooper, who was the 1942 MVP with a 22-7 record and 1.78 ERA. The Cardinals secured their dynasty title with Enos Slaughter's mad dash home from first on a single in Game 7 of the 1946 World Series, scoring the winning run against the Red Sox and securing their 3rd championship in 5 years. These Cardinals teams proved their legitimacy by winning before, during, and after World War II, despite constantly changing rosters due to military service. This is the longest sustained dynasty in American sports history. They won 10 World Series championships in 18 years, including 15 American League pennants. They won 5 consecutive World Series championship titles from 1949 to 1953, and only missing the World Series 3 times in this span. Their worst record during this period was 79-75, but they averaged an insane 97 wins per season. And to no surprise, the Yankees had multiple future Hall of Famers during this time, including Mickey Mantle, one of the best sluggers of all time who earned 3 MVPs, was a 20-time All-Star with a career OPS plus of 172, and 7-time World Series champion with the Yankees. They also had catcher Yogi Berra, who was a 3-time MVP, 18-time All-Star, and he earned 10 World Series rings as a player. They also had one of the greatest pitching talents in Whitey Ford, who was a Cy Young winner, 1961 World Series MVP, and he had 236 career wins with a 2.75 ERA over 16 seasons. Joe DiMaggio also played his final years of his career as part of the dynasty. They also had a very clear dynasty-defining moment with Don Larsen's perfect game in the 1956 World Series, which is the only perfect game in postseason history. This symbolized the Yankees' dominance and made their dynasty during this this era undeniable. This dynasty established the Yankees as America's team and baseball's most recognizable brand worldwide. It created expectations of excellence that continued to define the franchise today. While the Yankees have had multiple dynasties, this pre-war juggernaut stands out even in pinstripe history. They won 6 World Series championships in 8 years, as well as 7 American League pennants. They averaged an insane 100 wins per season during this period, and their 4 consecutive World Series titles from 1936 to 1939 was the record for consecutive World Series wins until the second Yankees dynasty broke it. Their historic lineup includes 5 Hall of Famers, including Joe DiMaggio, a 13-time All-Star, 3-time AL MVP, and 9-time World Series champion, and overall generational hitter, holding the unbroken record of most consecutive games with a hit at 56. They also had Lou Gehrig, the MVP in 1936 with a 354, 478, and 634 slash line that season, and he's considered one of the greatest baseball players of all time, earning 6 World Series titles, 2 AL MVP awards, 7 All-Star appearances, and he won a Triple Crown in 1934. Bill Dickey was their Hall of Fame catcher who batted .312 over this stretch with an OPS plus of 132, and they also had some insane pitching talent too, like Lefty Gomez, who had an 88-50 record during this period with 4 All-Star selections, and Red Ruffing, another Hall of Fame pitcher who won 126 games during this period with 20 or more wins in every season from 1936 to 1939. The dynasty cemented itself with the 1938 World Series sweep of the Cubs, where they outscored Chicago 22-9 and showcased their complete dominance. This also came after a dominant 99-win regular season. This dynasty bridged the gap between Ruth's Yankees and the post-war juggernaut that followed. What makes it especially remarkable is that it persisted through Gehrig's decline and tragic ALS diagnosis, as well as DiMaggio's military service in 1943. Under the leadership of Connie Mack, the Philadelphia A's fielded what many historians consider baseball's first super team. They won 3 World Series championships in 5 years, along with 4 American League pennants. They had a .644 winning percentage from 1910 to 1914, going .488 and .270. Throughout this time, they averaged 98 wins per season. The Athletics had some generational talent, including a bunch of future Hall of Famers, like Eddie Collins, who was a Hall of Fame second baseman, and he batted a career .333 with an OPS plus of 142, ending with an insane 124.3 WAR and 3,315 hits. There's also Home Run Baker, a Hall of Fame third baseman that led the AL in home runs 4 straight years from 1911 to 1914. During his time on the A's, he had a .321 batting average and 152 OPS plus. There was also Hall of Fame pitcher Chief Bender, who had a 1.42 ERA in the World Series. And the pitching talent didn't stop there, because they also had Eddie Plank, a Hall of Fame lefty who on the A's had 284 career wins and a 2.39 ERA with a 120 ERA plus. Their dynasty-defining moment came in the 1913 season when they went 96-57 and then beat the New York Giants in the World Series, outscoring them 23-15 over 5 games and winning their 3rd World Series championship in 4 years. Financial troubles forced owner and manager Connie Mack to dismantle this juggernaut after the 1914 season, selling off many of their stars. The Red Sox became baseball's first dynasty from 1912 to 1918. In that time, they won 4 World Series championships in 7 seasons, including 4 American League pennants. They had a .609 winning percentage from 1912 to 1918, with a record of .632 and .406, and they averaged 90 wins per season during this stretch. Boston had some star players that made this possible. First is Tris Speaker. He's a Hall of Fame outfielder with a .337 career average when playing with Boston, putting up 55.8 WAR during his time there. He was also key to the 1912 World Series championship, earning himself the AL MVP title that same year. Then there's Smokey Joe Wood, a pitcher with a 117-57 record, including a legendary 34-5 season in 1912, along with a 1.91 ERA. There's also Harry Hooper, a Hall of Fame right fielder who played on all 4 championship teams during this time. He ended his career with a .281 batting average and 2,466 hits. And of course, Boston also had the legendary Babe Ruth, who was with Boston from 1914 to 1919 before becoming a Yankee. During his tenure, he posted a 2.19 ERA as a pitcher and an 89-46 record. He was also an incredible hitter, batting .308 on the Red Sox with an OPS plus of 190. The 1912 Red Sox team went 105-47, winning the World Series in an epic 8-game series against the New York Giants. This dynasty established Boston as an early baseball powerhouse and created expectations that wouldn't be filled again until 2004. The sale of Babe Ruth to the Yankees in 1919 effectively ended this run and began the infamous 86-year championship drought.